Good people of Lancaster, especially graduates of the class of 1992. As a resident of Lancaster, I salute you and congratulate you for your many achievements and accomplishments. As a parent of one of your graduates, I congratulate you both on your graduation and on the excellent education your teachers and counselors have given you. And as a spokesperson for the one God, who in ways the best of our education cannot bring us to understand, does indeed watch over us all, I ask for God's blessing upon you all. I invoke God's blessing with two short teachings that I hope you can keep with you all the years of your life. First, the teaching from the book of Proverbs, Yirat Adonai Reshit Chachma, the reverence of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. And second, from the book of Psalms, unless the Lord builds the house, in vain do its builders labor. Unless God is an active, motivating part of your lives, your success is problematic. May God always be part of your lives. May you always recognize that life comes from God's presence, and then his blessing will always be with you. Amen.
Most of us began our educational careers in kindergarten. In that classroom with tiny tables and tiny chairs and the smell of crayons left too long on the radiator, we were taught the basics of human interaction. In kindergarten, kindness and sharing were encouraged, while selfishness and competition were not. In kindergarten, working together meant compromise and patience. As adults, we too often abandon these philosophies. Graduation traditionally marks a symbolic beginning of adulthood. Our age can no longer separate us from the makeup of this world. This society that we're about to become part of is not something to enter into, but something to be created. Here we have the opportunity to begin a new creation of society. From this point forward, every one of our individual actions and attitudes will be a component of the society that surrounds us. At graduation, people often speak of success and its importance for the individual. Talk of success would be far more beneficial if we were to look at our success as a population. How truly significant is one person's success if they do not share it? I believe that real success should be measured not by how much you can take from this world, but by how much you can give to it. Kindness and generosity in people today should not be reserved for sharing toys in kindergarten. It can be a way of life. Giving freely and sharing one's success is not belittling the importance of self. Who can more readily accept kindness from others than those who give? Nor need this generosity be expensive. Showing unwarranted kindness to a stranger doesn't take a lot of time or energy. It isn't hard to smile and say hello to someone who looks lonely, or to move a piece of trash from the ground to the garbage can. These acts may seem small, but good or bad, they are part of the prevailing attitude in the world today. No person is so isolated that their actions do not have an effect on other people. Therefore, giving is not really so selfless. A person can be kind, knowing that their surroundings are now kinder. We saw heroes of this type emerge from the aftermath of the riots in Los Angeles. These heroes were not the individuals keeping peace or prosecuting the 16,000 people arrested. These heroes were the people out on the street cleaning up. They're not going to get money or much publicity in return for their actions, but they will make their neighborhoods better places to live. What separates them from the people who stay away and shake their heads is that they did not ask the question, why is it my job? They knew that it was anyone's job who could and would do it. In effect, it should have been everyone's job. They are people of action who aren't just thinking or talking about improving the situation. Thoughts of kindness not expressed do not really help anyone. Direct action is the only answer. These anonymous people who are giving without personal gain embody the qualities we would like to claim as human beings. While there is a limit on how much there is to be had in this world, there is no limit on how much there is to give. Giving only encourages more giving. As young people with the potential to shape the future, we have the opportunity to teach and to nurture, to improve, to simply be a positive part of society. We move through each day of our lives only once. Why hoard the love and kindness we can show for other people now? Our supply is inexhaustible. For every bit more compassion in this world, there is a little bit less hatred. I know that is the type of world I'd like to live in, one with less hatred. Showing kindness to everyone we meet, every chance we get, can only make things better. Our world may very well be the sum total of all the love and hate expressed by its people. We need to learn to give love freely and accept love graciously in order to reach a state of justice and equality in the world today. Tonight, I'd like to dedicate my speech to those students not up here on stage, those students who either gave up or by the standards of the school failed. It's easy to judge them, and it is easy to lay blame elsewhere. Instead, we need to keep in mind this love and generosity I've spoken of when considering them. It may be that they need this kindness most of all. I know that they need this much attention far more than we need the recognition.
Each year, when I recognize the class's honor students, I feel a tremendous amount of pride, tremendous amount of respect for these students because I know how difficult the challenge. Difficult to attain an A in a single course in a semester of courses, but to maintain that A average throughout 3 years of rigorous academic programs is certainly an accomplishment worthy of our respect. This evening, I'm very proud to be able to present to you 3 students who have, for 3 years, attained and maintained that highest of academic averages. Would you now please join with me in recognizing the class of 1992's honor students? Melvin E. Miller, Jennifer Ann Novosel, Adrian Sheets. Would you come forward, please?
Good evening. For the second straight year, I've been asked to present the next award. I'd first like to acknowledge the members of the Board of Education, Dr. Shaleski, Mr. Seifert, faculty, parents, members of the graduating class of 1992. Representing the Rotary Club of Lancaster, I have the privilege of presenting the Dr. Harvey A. Smith Award. For many years, Dr. Smith was superintendent of the school district of Lancaster, which he served with distinction until his death. Dr. Smith was president of the Rotary Club of Lancaster from 1952 to 1953. Over 30-some years ago, an anonymous donor gave a sum of money to the Rotary Club of Lancaster to help establish the Dr. Harvey A. Smith Memorial Fund. The income from this fund helps establish the yearly Dr. Harvey A. Smith Award presented to a member of the graduating class of J.P. McCaskey High School. Provisions of the trust state that the recipient of the award shall be selected from the senior class and faculty. It is further stated that the controlling considerations in the selection of the student are those qualities of selfless service to the school community and its students, which Dr. Smith demonstrated to the civic community and its citizens. These qualities, incidentally, coincide with the ideals of Rotary and the Rotary motto, service above self. Therefore, the award has a twofold purpose. One, to recognize the student outstanding in qualities similar to those of Dr. Smith, and two, to perpetuate Dr. Smith's name as one of Lancaster's distinguished educators. This year's award goes to Marco A. Ortiz. Marco, would you come forward, please? Marco, as a representative of the Rotary Club of Lancaster, I'd like to present to you the Dr. Harvey A. Smith Award. I'd like to read the certificate here, if I may. Certificate of Recognition, the Harvey A. Smith Award, presented this 4th day of June, 1992, by the Rotary Club of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, to Marco A. Ortiz, who, in the opinion of his fellow classmates and the faculty of J.P. McCaskey Senior High School, best exemplifies selfless service to the school community and its students, high standards of conduct, and pride in being a part of the high school. I also have a check here, Marco, for $750.
Good evening. The Clarence M. Ebersole Memorial Award. This award honors the memory of Mr. Clarence M. Ebersole. Mr. Ebersole was, for many years, a teacher of social studies at J.P. McCaskey High School, and later chairman of the department. Upon his death in 1966, his family instituted this award. In 1986, the award was continued by a generous, anonymous benefactor in the McCaskey community. In 1989, two present members of the Social Studies Department at McCaskey High School, who also wished to remain anonymous, made additional generous contributions to increase the monetary value of this prestigious award. The Clarence M. Ebersole Memorial Award is presented annually to a graduating senior student who has done outstanding work in the social studies during their high school career, and who exemplifies the high standards of character and citizenship which Mr. Ebersole tried to instill in all of his students. The recipient of this award is selected by the McCaskey Social Studies Department faculty and receives a certificate and a check for $200. It therefore gives me great pleasure this evening to present the department's highest award to Chris Cooper. Congratulations, Chris. Thank you very much.
Get out of my way. Help me out. One more time.
Mountain, get out of my way.
Yeah. Union audience may not be able to relate to that. However, my entire classmates do. And 3 years ago, I don't think any of us really understood how important the words that Montel Williams shot at us during sophomore year would become over the course of the next 3 years. For now, let me introduce myself to you all as Joe Average, and we'll go from here. As a McCaskey student, we encounter a variety of experiences on a daily basis. Here at McCaskey, we have everything from calculus class to cutting class. We're one of the only schools in the state where you could go from America to Spain to the Orient in the course of a day. Besides the fact that I'm standing up here on stage, I feel I'm in a good position to make this presentation to you all and to all my classmates for one other very simple reason. My mother always told me to keep my head up and my eyes open so that I could see what was going on in the world around me. I've done it, and so now I'd like to share my observations with you all tonight. In the past 3 years, we've all been encouraged to be excited and spirited, while at the same time we were grieved and criticized, entertained, and tested all along our windy road to success. Our senior class has been a very proud and loyal, tight-knit group of movers and shakers who have developed a very strong sense of family. We obviously don't have the same parents, or this auditorium wouldn't be so full. But that's not what makes us a family anyway. What makes us a family is the fact that we share the same opportunity, the opportunity to experience one another, which is offered by this institution. Over the last few years, the key has not been the events, but how we've received them and with whom we've received them. There's not a great or ordinary man or woman on this earth who has not adopted a characteristic or trait of someone or something around him. If we all look around this great melting pot which we call school and take a few pages from the books of our friends and classmates, we can all develop our very own specialized and personalized journals of life. With these journals at hand, all of us Joe Averages from J.P. McCaskey can develop a winning attitude, giving us the upper hand in the outside and changing world. Joe Average McCaskey is far more prepared for the outside world than Joe Hempfield or Joe Catholic or Joe Township. Simply because our journals contain pages and volumes which could just not be obtained in their limited libraries. There's one book, however, that all the county libraries carries. It's known as McCaskey's Fortune 400. It's when the administration and faculty of this institution invest time and energy in 400 graduating seniors who move into the outside world to franchise their own dreams and goals. Everyone's looking forward to seeing what type of profit the class of '92 yields. Oh yes, every class says that they're the best, but the proof truly is in the pudding. Don't let anyone tell you that in the outside world you can't make it unless you know someone in a position to get you a position, because this is not true. For the last year, I've learned that it's not necessarily who you know, if what you know is who you know. For example, spend time around those who have a vested interest in your success. Take advantage of those who are willing to help you along. Tonight, I'd like to share with you all a gift. It is a poem that I received from the very special parents of a friend who have done their best to make senior year for 6 young men as memorable as possible. Keep it in mind, and I'm sure it will help you along. Nothing in this world can take the place of persistence. Talent will not. Nothing is more common than unsuccessful men with talent. Genius will not. Unrewarded genius is a proverb. Education alone will not. The world is full of educated derelicts. Persistence and determination alone are omnipotent. These are very strong words to live by. And in conclusion, I'd like to ask of all my peers that outside the cradling walls of McCaskey High School, not one of you ever settles for less or settles for second best. For we are the future, and we are now. We are John Pearsall McCaskey High School's class of '92.
In the spring of 1975, a group of McCaskey teachers, believing that recognition of the graduating senior young woman who had distinguished herself in the study of English was long overdue, began deliberations to inaugurate a companion award to the John Pearsall McCaskey Award for Excellence in English. The committee deemed it proper to name the new award in honor of a woman who had herself exemplified and inspired excellence in English as a teacher in the schools of Lancaster for 40 years. The esteem in which Catherine Buckwalter was and is held by her friends, her former colleagues, and her former students is ample evidence that excellence in English be rewarded with recognition and respect to a female member of the graduating senior class. Thus, it gives me great pleasure to present, for extraordinary proficiency in the use of the English language and extraordinary understanding of and appreciation of literature, the 17th Annual Catherine M. Buckwalter Award to Jennifer Ann Novosel. The John Pearsall McCaskey Award, now in its 32nd year, resulted from the merger of two earlier awards. One established in 1926 in honor of Dr. McCaskey's 89th birthday, and the other in 1940 to coincide with the dedication of the new McCaskey High School. The inaugurators of both awards were groups of former students of Dr. McCaskey. Their aims were to perpetuate the influence Dr. McCaskey had on the education of the young men of Lancaster, and to encourage among male students of J.P. McCaskey High School a proficiency in the study of American and English literature and language. And so, since 1961, when the two awards were combined, we have honored annually a graduating young man with the John Pearsall McCaskey Award for Excellence in English. It gives me great pleasure to present this prestigious award to Andrew P. Ciatola.
Good evening, administrators, faculty, parents, and friends. This evening marks a new beginning in the road in our lives. We look ahead with great anticipation to what now lies before us. We look back with many fond memories of our lives here at McCaskey. If you asked each of the students up on this stage tonight what he or she will remember most about McCaskey after graduation, I'm sure you will receive a variety of different answers. Perhaps some would say the sports, or the music department, dances, or the art department. And each of these functions and each of these programs is truly special to each and every individual. Tonight I would like to tell you about the program at McCaskey that I will remember the most after graduation. That is the Teen Parent Program. I hope that I can enlighten you in a way that fancy graphs and endless statistics cannot. I hope to let you see through my own personal experiences just how valuable this program actually is. 3 years ago, I began my career here at McCaskey, and the Teen Parenting Program was opened up on campus. From the beginning, the program has been incredibly controversial. Both sides have always been very vocal and adamant on their position. Aware of the controversy, I chose to not become involved. But that changed when I learned of my own pregnancy 2.5 months into my sophomore year. Many people are afraid to discuss the program because of the controversy that surrounds it. Those against the program argue that funds and tax monies are being wasted on the child care for our children and on the salaries of the teachers involved. I've heard it said many times that the program is only adding momentum to the rising epidemic of teen pregnancy. Yes, teen pregnancy is rampant. If you stand in the hallways during our class changes, you can see that. But what most people never see, what they never have the opportunity to grasp a hold of, is the behind-the-scenes work that goes on in the Teen Parenting Program. I have, and it's because of this program that I'm about to walk across this stage and receive my diploma tonight. And many other teen parents here at McCaskey have come to love the walls of rooms 143 and 145. It was there in those rooms that we learned to deal with and how to handle the consequences of the choices we had made. The road wasn't easy, but we also were able to come to love Mrs. Kinsey, Mrs. Whitehead, and Mrs. Hornberger. These are the 3 women who, from the beginning of the program, saw us every day, encouraged us every day, said, "You can make it just one more day." They were at times the only stability or support available to us. Somehow these women, with the support of the faculty and the administrators of J.P. McCaskey High School, have worked to keep the teen parents in school. But what does that really mean? What is the significance of that statement? Well, it means that the 50% dropout rate for pregnant or parenting teens is decreasing. It means that more teen parents are toughing it out and receiving their diplomas, and in turn, going on to post-secondary education or joining the workforce with the qualifications and the abilities to do more than just work at McDonald's. It means that the need for your tax dollars, and now our tax dollars, to be spent on public assistance will decrease, and the poverty cycle can finally be broken. This, however, is only one aspect of the Teen Parent Program. In addition to decreasing the dropout rate, the Teen Parent Program is there to inform others of the realities of teen parenthood. The parents involved in the program, myself included, participate in what we call Teen Parent Prevention Panels.
A teen parent prevention panel is exactly what its name suggests. It consists of 4 or 5 teen parents who open up and tell all, even the things that aren't nice to hear, the realities of what it's like to live daily as a teen parent in high school. We do this in hope that teen pregnancy will stop. These panels have visited all 4 of our district junior highs. Many of the health classes here. We've been part of teacher in-service days for our district, and we've even worked with Chain Reaction and the March of Dimes at their annual youth conference. The Teen Parent Program is also a vital factor of the increase in teen father involvement. 9 out of 10 teen fathers have nothing to do with the raising of their children. 9 out of 10. But because of the Teen Parent Program, this too is now changing for the better, and many teen fathers are taking responsibility for their children. I have mentioned many times this evening the teen parents. And although we are viewed as a statistic within society, we, like each and every one of you in your seats this evening, are individuals, and we have our own set of hopes and our own set of dreams that we hope to attain. We are Jose Chalet, Tara Wilson, Paula Hertz, Susan Teeny, and many others. On behalf of the other teen parents, I would like to say thank you to the school board, to the faculty, and to everyone who has played a part in the teen parenting program. Thank you so much for caring and not thinking that we had messed up and there was no hope for us. Thank you for believing in us, giving us this program, and providing the means, the inspiration, the guidance and encouragement needed for us to be on this stage this evening and graduate. Thank you so much for making it possible for us to provide better lives not only for ourselves, but for our children. Thank you for making it possible for us to walk across this stage, receive our diplomas, and realize what was once an unattainable dream. Thank you. God bless.
The Hall of Honor Award was inspired by an outstanding class, the one of 1979. Since that time, it has become perhaps our most prestigious award. The award is presented by the faculty of McCaskey High School. Members of the faculty nominate students for consideration, and then a committee of the faculty review the candidates and their credentials, and ultimately, of course, select a winner. The criteria that they use in their selection includes scholarship, service to the school, extracurricular activities, personality, good citizenship. The 1992 recipient has all of the characteristics, an ample amount, a more than ample amount of the characteristics, the criteria for selection. She is someone who not only is very talented academically, but perhaps most importantly, she is someone who has been involved with her school and with her classmates, not for 1 year, her senior year, but for 3 years. She is a recognized and accepted leader, I believe, by both the students and by the staff. She is a positive influence. She is a positive support for many people at McCaskey High School. I'd like you to join me, if you would please, in recognizing this year's recipient, and I present her to you with a great deal of pride. Heidi Sunisli. Heidi. This evening, when you leave the auditorium, you will see Heidi's portrait immediately in front of you as you leave our auditorium. Heidi. During our city's 250th anniversary celebration, many of our noted citizens have appeared at community events, and they have shared their perceptions of Lancaster past and Lancaster present. Tonight, we are exceptionally fortunate to have as one of our guests one of Lancaster's most distinguished citizens. Perhaps, not perhaps, he was the father of the Lancaster school system. He is someone who is very, very special to all of us. John Pearsall McCaskey High School. Yep. John Pearsall McCaskey. Dr. McCaskey.
Thank you, Mr. Seifert. I appreciate the invitation to come back to Lancaster High School. Certainly congratulations to the class of '92. And being a former teacher and former principal in the late 1800s of Lancaster, I'm quite honored to be considered one of the individuals who helped mold the 250 years of Lancaster City. But in that time, I've noticed some changes from then to now. First of all, the new address. When I graduated from Lancaster High School in 1855, and then began teaching in that same 1855, our high school was at the corner of Prince and Chestnut Streets in downtown Lancaster. You might recognize that as the site of the present post office, although my friends tell me the post office now has been moved to the outskirts of some unfamiliar city to me, Park City. Also, some of the changes are the number of students I see here tonight. 400 overwhelms me, as well as the citizens of the auditorium. In the 1860s, when I was principal, we graduated 25 students in a year. Our school, in fact, was at Prince Street. It was 100 students 100 boys on the second floor, 100 girls on the first floor. Mr. Seifert, you might consider doing that again. The teaching staff consisted of me and 2 assistant professors, and that's how we got along with that few members. Also, the details of education have changed, although I think the ultimate goal, the long-range goal, has remained the same, to produce productive, active citizens. Being able to chart the direction of education, I believed that the 3 R's were very essential: reading, writing, and arithmetic. And particularly to those 3 R's, those basics, I was interested in spelling, for one, in that I had on occasion every day to meet the students. We would take a word, dissect it, look at its root. Was it Latin? Was it Greek? Was it German? What was the prefix? What was the suffix? Learn the definition, learn the meaning, learn how to spell the word. I considered that one of the basics. Another basic I considered was memorization. Our Lancaster students would recite the Gettysburg Address, the preamble to the Constitution, Shakespeare, Milton. Memorization would frame the mind for that future learning that students would have throughout their life. But with spelling and memorization and those basics of the 3 R's, life is so rich with other pleasures, and I thought school is a time to begin to taste those other pleasures. Music, for one. I, as principal in 1860, initiated the concept that every student would have music instruction every day. And I hired a music director. And as I look around tonight, I see Mr. Kahn, you're still here. But music was very important, and in fact, holiday time, Christmas and Easter, we would forego the regular class activities and prepare for a concert the whole community would enjoy. In fact, in the year 1867, I composed a Christmas carol, Jolly Old St. Nicholas, which I understand is still very popular today. Another area of education was the wonder and beauty of nature. Specifically, I celebrated, and with our school, Arbor Day in the fall and in the spring. And as you now walk down the streets of Lancaster, notice those trees that have 100 years of growth, because along those streets, those trees in your backyards, in the parks, were the trees that the students of Lancaster planted. In my years, our students planted nearly 10,000 trees, and those are the trees of Lancaster. Also, a third area that I thought was important as a richness to life was physical activity. Physical education was very important in the life of a student. All types of physical activity, but in this particular instance, in 1890, we organized the first Lancaster High School football team. That football team in its first few years played an intercollegiate schedule. We played Millersville Normal School. In the first year, they defeated us. In the next two, we beat them, and I think Lancaster High School then and now can stand on a record of 2-1 against colleges. Interesting to note is that my son Walter was quarterback and captain of Penn State's football team, and also my great-grandson Edward. Edward in college took a fancy to a very pretty young lady, Miss Virginia Hallis. She happened to be the daughter of George Hallis. Courtship developed, and Edward right now is, and currently, owner, chief executive officer, and president of the Chicago Bears. So back to my ideas of education. I'm saying that education was basic, the 3 R's, and that was essential to producing a productive, active citizen. However, life also has some riches, and high school is the time to begin to taste those. Now I want to look at you, the class of '92. I have 2 simple thoughts, although I'll say they're not simply accomplished. The first, think. Speaking biologically, a subject in which I have more than a casual interest. The human animal separates himself from his friends in the animal kingdom by the ability to think. Humans, as I think we've heard in a couple speeches tonight, have opportunities for choices. Choices every day, millions in a lifetime. Humans have the ability to have that input of thought. Making thoughtful decisions, I say, is one of my principles of passing on of words of wisdom to the class of '92, is use that ability to think. Secondly, class of '92, be responsible. People make commitments. You make commitments every day to your family, to your friends, to church, to school, to work. Commitments depend on people being reliable. Be a dependable person. Be someone who your friend can depend on. Be a responsible person. Now, in closing, Mr. Seifert, I've noted some changes between then and now, but I still think that you and your McCaskey staff are doing an exceptional job in producing thinking, responsible citizens. And although, Mr. Seifert, I don't think you'll be here in 100 years, Mr. Kahn might be. Mr. Kahn, would you please see that in those 100 years that I would get the opportunity to visit Lancaster High School again. Thank you.
Good evening. Samuel Goldwyn said, when someone does something good, applaud. You'll make 2 people happy. Tonight we will be doing a lot of applauding, and we will be making a lot of people happy, which we should. We should be applauding the class of 1992 for their many accomplishments in academics, in sports, for their community service, and for being there for each other and us. We should applaud our staff and our faculty and our administrators for the work that they've done to bring the class of '92 here before us tonight. The many hours they've put in, the many times that even though they felt that they hadn't reached someone, that person is here tonight. For the many times they've gone to each other and asked for assistance to provide our young people with the education that will be needed for them to succeed in this world. We should also applaud the relatives and friends of the class of 1992 for the many times that you counseled them and encouraged them to go back and give it another try, to stay off of the street corners, get some rest, to participate in after-school activities, for the many times when they came to you for a shoulder to cry on. And we should also applaud the community of Lancaster, who supports the school district of Lancaster and its accomplishments, who come out for our sporting events, who keep an eye on our budgets, who keep an eye on our students while they are outside of our doors. And most of all, I'd like to talk to the parents and applaud you tonight. Having had 4 children myself who graduated from high school, I can imagine what some of you are thinking tonight. I had a daughter who graduated from Reading High School, 3rd in her class. She received many awards. I was so happy I cried. I had 2 daughters who were just average students who came to the stage and received their diploma. I was so happy I cried again. And I had a son who, when he graduated, I stood in the back of the room and I moved around a lot because I wasn't sure that someone wasn't going to tap me on the shoulder and say, "We made a mistake, Mr. Heisen. He has to try it again." But I cried, and he cried, because it was tough, and it was difficult for them to get to where they are tonight. We applaud all of you here tonight, and we are proud of everyone here. Education isn't students walking across the stage. Education is students being able to work with each other, to understand and figure things out, to learn from parents and friends and community. That's what education is. I'd like to say a poem that's been in my family so long that no one knows where it came from. No one even knows what the name of it is. And it goes like this: "The clock of life is wound but once, and no one has the power to tell just when the hands will stop at late nor early hour. Now is the time you own. Live, love, toil with the will. Place no faith in tomorrow, for the hands may then be still. The class of '92, this is your tomorrow. Never let it go without doing something positive for yourself and for others." Thank you.
Commencement is, of course, a celebration of our students' accomplishments. I'd like to join Mr. Heisen in commending you, parents and friends of our students, for the contributions that you have made to their lives. I'd also like to recognize another group of people who are on this stage sharing it with the students this evening. This is the faculty of McCaskey High School. These are the ladies and gentlemen who on a daily basis share understanding and love with the students, who share their knowledge, their insights with them, who just generally care for them. I think it's very appropriate that the faculty at McCaskey is seated on the stage with them. I hope that all the students feel that it is a shared experience this evening. I'd like to introduce in particular 4 members of that faculty. four very highly respected members who have served McCaskey High School and the Lancaster community for a combined 125 years. These are four teachers who will be retiring at the conclusion of this year, and I'd like to recognize them and have them stand, if they would please, and honor them for their combined 125 years of service to our students. Seated behind me, one of our presenters this evening, Phil Baumberger. Phil is a member of our Social Studies Department. As both a teacher and a department facilitator, he has served for 33 years. Phil, could you please stand? You are good. Now, if I could direct your attention to the other side of the stage, I'd like to introduce to you Melvin Butler, a member of our Business Education Department, and Mel has been with us for 35 years. Seated next to Mel is Marion Frank. Marion is a member of our Phys Ed Department. Marion has served 34 years as a Phys Ed teacher, as a coach, and as our activities coordinator. Marion, Mel, Phil, thank you very much. Although she became ill today and had to go home, I would like to also recognize Joan Cocco. Joan is a member of our Communication Arts Department, has been for 23 years. These four teachers form part of what I believe is a truly outstanding teaching faculty at McCaskey High School. I'm very proud to be associated with them, and I ask that you join me, please, in recognizing the very distinguished faculty of J.P. McCaskey High School. Would you please stand? I recently read an account by Robert Fulgham of a noted Greek humanitarian named Papaderos. What was so interesting about this account, this story, was that it actually related to one man's honest response to what is the meaning of life. That particular question, I believe, is most often associated with a joke about a Tibetan monk. In this particular case, it's quite the opposite. Papaderos was a child in a very poor and remote town in Greece during the Second World War. One day in his childhood, he found pieces of broken mirror all over the road. The mirror had come from a German motorcycle that had obviously wrecked on that road. The Germans also had occupied the town at that time. Of course, Papaderos picked up as many pieces as he could. He couldn't put the whole mirror back into one form, so he decided to walk off with, of course, the largest piece. This mirror, during his youth, became a toy for him. And Papaderos became particularly fascinated by the fact that by using the mirror, he could shine light into areas where the sun would never shine. He could get into black crevices, into holes, into dark closets. He kept the mirror as a toy and continued with his fascination with the game during his entire youth. When he became older, as he became a man, the mirror became less, of course, a toy for him, but it became more a symbol for him of what he was becoming and what was becoming for him meaning in life. He knew well that he himself was not the light. He was not all-knowing. He was not the source of light. But he also knew that there was light, and that Through him, others, dark places in others, could receive the light through reflection from him. Papaderos at one time said in this account, and I quote him, "I am a fragment of a mirror, whose whole design and shape I do not know. Nevertheless, with what I have, I can reflect light into the dark places of this world, into the black places of men. This is the meaning of my life." You, like Papaderos, are a fragment of a mirror. And I'd like, if you would please, to follow me on this. You're one of the pieces that together design and shape and give meaning to McCaskey, meaning during the time that you have been here, and because of your presence, meaning to McCaskey and its future. I ask now, what values have you taken as your own from McCaskey? What have you learned during the time that you've been here with us? As I go over with you some of the things that perhaps I believe you've learned, I wish you would spend a moment and reflect along with me. McCaskey has been much of your youth. Your mind, your entire world was expanded here. You acquired skills, knowledge that have become part of you and have become part of what you are still becoming. You have also had a taste of the greatest richness of life, being able to know, understand, and value human diversity. And take a moment just to look around. Look next to you. There might be someone from Cambodia, from Vietnam, from Puerto Rico, from South America or Central America, from Germany, Yugoslavia, Sweden, someone from Russia, also someone from New York, from Texas, someone from up the block or right next door. The color of your skins is different. You worship in different ways. You do not all possess the same native language, and your cultures and philosophies of life are different. But here at McCaskey, you have walked together and you have blended. You haven't become all the same, and we would not want you to become all the same. But you have become part of one another, and you have given to your school a sense of dimension and meaning that it has not had before you have come here. If during your 3 years you have heard and you've experienced and you've learned enough of what is valued here at McCaskey, you are aware of what does hold most value for you personally and privately. And now I ask you to take that public, expand it, apply it in a broader sense. Merge yourself, merge your values with a larger community than that which you have known up until this time. I ask you to reflect the light into the deep places. It is not enough to know, you must also do. It is not enough for you to wish or to hope for. It is something that you have to work for. The impressions, the experiences at McCaskey, the memories, images upon images, values of a place for everyone will never be ending if you share them. Your sense of being part of a place for everyone should be spread and can be shared by those throughout your entire life with whom you come in contact. So I come back and I guess I ask myself the question that I would start with: can you in fact come up with an answer to what is the meaning of life? Can you at McCaskey at least come to some point of focus as to, yes, I am starting to begin some meaning in my life as I leave here? George Bernard Shaw provides a summary perhaps of what I've been trying to say, and also incidentally a very strong confirmation of that humanitarian Papaderos. Listen carefully, because this is perhaps a little difficult. This is the true joy in life, that being used for a purpose recognized by yourself as a mighty one, that being a force in nature instead of a feverish, selfish little clod of ailments and grievances complaining that the world will not devote itself to making you happy. I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the whole community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die. For the harder I work, the more I live. I rejoice in life for its own sake. Life is no brief candle to me. It's sort of a splendid torch which I've got to hold up for the moment, and I want to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it over to future generations. Whatever your individual piece of the mirror may be, whatever your values, human understandings that you have gained here at McCaskey, however bright the light for you, it will only shine in dark places. It will only have greater meaning than it has now if you reflect it. Thank you. Dr. Shekletzky.
I got it.
Dr. Shekletzky. By unanimous vote of the faculty of John Pearsall McCaskey High School, the 401 members of the senior class are recommended to become the 58th class to be graduated in the very proud 54-year history of our school. With great admiration, very, very well-earned respect, and a deep affection, I present to you, Dr. Shekletzky, the class of 1992.
Members of the Board of School Directors, Mr. Seifert, staff, honored guests, family and friends, and most important, the 1992 graduating class of McCaskey High School. It is an honor and a pleasure to be part of this graduation ceremony, my first as the superintendent for the school district of Lancaster. Why an honor and a privilege? Prior to coming to this district, I served as an area associate superintendent over a 9-year period and supervised 5 or 6 senior high schools in any one year. That translates into approximately 50 commencements, about the same number as has been held here at McCaskey. Yet this is the first time I have had the opportunity to address the graduating seniors. In my former district, the tradition was to have an outsider address the students. I've had to defer to congressmen, the commissioner of the National Football League, TV news commentators, White House aides, and even Joe Gibbs, the coach of the Washington Redskins. Each of these dignitaries had a message for the graduates, usually related to their careers, or often to a cause they were promoting. But they had one thing in common. Invariably, they all said, I was told to keep my remarks short. So that reminds me of a famous speech once given by Sir Winston Churchill, who stood before his audience and said, "Never give up." He paused, and then he repeated, "Never give up." He then sat down. It would be
certainly extremely presumptuous on my part to think that I could deliver such a powerful message in so few words that would command the respect of this audience. Nevertheless, graduates, my message too will be short. We're here tonight to celebrate your commencement. We know that the root of that word is commence, which means to start or to begin. Yet this is a graduation, which marks a conclusion or an end. Tonight is the end of a process that began some 12 years ago, a process we call formal education. During that time, you have worked and studied for this night, when you receive your certificate that attests to the fact that you have indeed successfully completed this phase of your life experience. But just as certainly, tonight is also a beginning. This becomes obvious if we ask ourselves the question, what were those 12 years for? Or why did we go through them? Let me suggest that they were not to prepare you to end or to conclude a part of your life, but they were to prepare you to begin a new life. You do not end your life as a student as much as you begin your life as an adult, a citizen of the world. One of the things I learned about this class is your comfort in feeling of security here at McCaskey. I've heard you speak about living and working in harmony, enjoying your cultural differences, not being ready to leave, and as Mr. Seifert said, McCaskey as a place for everyone. For this I commend you and the staff for establishing this tone and positive environment. But it is in fact time to leave the nest. It is time for you to take your place in the adult world. With this new status, which you assume tonight, go many rights and privileges, but with it also come many awesome responsibilities and demands. Just think for a minute about some of the issues facing you. The changing family structure and its role in society. The acts of violence in our cities, such as Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, and sad to say, in our own city. The struggle for cultural and ethnic equality. The vast proliferation of all kinds of information, the continuing war on drugs, a nation of changing demographics, a global economy and changing world structure, the fight against AIDS. We've tried over these last 12 years to prepare you to accept responsibility and meet these many demands. Certainly that is the fervent hope of the faculty and staff of our school district. Graduates, take what you have learned and use it wisely. But wherever you go and whatever you do, be yourselves. In the words of Henry David Thoreau, if a man does not keep pace with his companions, perhaps it is because he hears a different drummer. Let him step to the music which he hears, however measured or far away. Listen for your drummer. Then set your goals, chart your course, and you make things happen. Luck, success, and happiness to the class of 1992. May the future be yours. Thank you.
The marshals will now present the class according to previous instructions. Assisting in the presentation of the diplomas this evening will be members of the McCaskey faculty. Our Grand Marshal and Class Advisor for this year's class, Mr. Casey Jones, Mr. Gene Leida, Mr. Ronald Rill, Ms. Marion Homer. You okay? Marlena Colon. Lizandra Resto.
You need to get close to the mic.
Awoda I. Rivera. Melissa Ann White. Jennifer L. Castrans. Suzanne M. Shebler. Monica Piscala. Gloria A. Spangler. Yolanda Y. Bunch. Sophie Southlaw. Hopti Lee. Tara L. Wilson. Rosa Perez. Brandy L. Rendler. Melinda A. Stauffer. Paula Renee Hertz. Madeline Vigo. Diana Standing Wolf. Alexandra S. Mangua. Norma I. Carollo. Michelle Lynn Wolf. Elizabeth Vargas. Michelle L. Binder. Sylvia Arca. Lisa Michelle Bittler. Mary A. Guerrero. Angela Guzman. Nancy Gonzalez. Claire W. Stevenson. Amy Beth Dubel. Tony L. Rydell. Christina Marie Monroy. Heather L. Mumaw. Jeanette I. Ortega. Ann M. Slaymaker. Sandra Lee Bell. Wendy L. Robertson. Brandy L. Laporta. Heidi Sue Nitzley. Nicole D. Hobbs. Nicole L. Irvin. Halai. Laritza E. Pereira. Nancy Perez. Jeanette Santel. Elaine M. Seyfried. Linda K. Bauer. Glenda L. Orma. Madeline Ortiz. Joanna Diane Heberlein. Tammy L. Ransbottom. Minerva M. Medina. Ileana I. Cruz. Wanda Durio. Catherine Georgialis. Maribel Lozano. Carmen Marti. Michelle L. Walker. Anna L. Suarez. Ana Rosa Santiago. The class historian Julie Ann Farah. Sarah E. King, Amy L. Shelton, Lynn Marie Sechrist, Jill S. Roy, Yolanda Rivera, Betty J. Porter, Heather Lynn Oswald, Jocelyn Morales, Monica F. Dennison, Douglas G. Armstrong, Crystal. Ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting because we'd like to appropriately recognize one of our 8 exchange students this year. This young lady is Crystal Laporte, and she is from France. This year, Crystal was the guest of Mr. and Mrs. Gary Cross. It's been a pleasure for us to have you this year, Crystal, as well as all of your peers. We would like to present you as a gift from McCaskey an American flag, which has flown over our nation's capital, and also a volume of the Heritage of Lancaster, which was written, and also the copy you have is signed by its author, John Ward Luce. We have another one of our exchange students. This young lady is from Russia, Ekterina V. Sluzabova. That's okay, we'll get them later. We'll get them later, thank you. Cassandra M. Harris, Shannon L. Hall, Ginny L. Moore, Melanie Gonzalez, Monica R. Dixon, I'd like to introduce to you now our third exchange student, Leia Al Bafilla from Spain. This year, Leila was the guest not only of McCaskey, but of the Ibram Highmore family. And I'd like to, incidentally, thank not only her host parents, but all of the host parents who for one whole year provide as much love and care for our exchange students as they do for their own. I commend you and thank you. Jessica Autumn Brown, Heather R. Souders, Renata M. Atkins. Renata is our exchange student from Israel. Renata has been the guest this year of Rabbi Gary Atkins. Julie Antes. Fatima J. Lewis. Tanya M. Cole. Sherry Lynn Barton, Kimberly Ann Yeager, Angel Lynn Wigeman, Christy M. Jensen. Blaine C. Stover. Joshua W. Constein. Keith Rankin. Dennis Ramos. Christopher Spear. Steve Marinos. Scott Huber. Dean Ray Hershey. Eric L. Gonzalez. Jeremiah Garcia Jr. A. Hakeem Sparkman. Victoria Long Garman.
Congratulations, dear.
Evelyn Vigo. Tamara L. Crespo. Natasha L. B. Turner. Mickey Tackett. Stacy Lynn Steyer. Adakara Santana. Carmen J. Padilla. Annie A. Lynch. Sharon J. Good. Amy L. Siever. Douglas A. Kenyon. Our exchange student from Germany, Angen E. B. Schwergen. Brian M. Martin. Nicholas Close. Nathan M. Draper. James Buckner. Thomas J. Blessing. Andrew Oxendine. Stephen R. Younger. Eric A. Riley. George K. Reed. Kelly C. Maddox. Aaron C. McKay. Rachel L. Doherty. Daniela E. Cameron. Jessica L. Barnett. Elizabeth A. Albright. Rosa L. Howes. Victoria E. Smith. Christy M. Mazer. Tessie G. Infante. Annette L. Burns. Mark Zaprowski. Robert L. Dean. Tyler Fry. Derek K. Washington. Frank Underwood Jr. Wayne S. Schaefer. Marco Santiago. Mark D. Rule. Kevin J. Reichert. Stanford E. Mendenhall. Philip T. Nguyen. Kate E. Thompson.
She's waiting. Congratulations.
Krista M. Brown.
Congratulations.
Molly S. Holgate.
Congratulations, Mom.
Laveda K. Taylor.
Congratulations.
Denise Rianosa. Tanya M. Mueller.
Congratulations.
Michelle D. Irvin.
Congratulations.
Stephanie E. Gensler.
All right. Stop. Here you go.
Jessica R. Thompson. Ladies and gentlemen, our foreign exchange student from Yugoslavia, Sergei Katz. Ladies and gentlemen, as our American Field Service, AFS, exchange student, Sergei will be representing all of our exchange students and has asked to have a few minutes to be able to address you on behalf of all of them.
I have the honor to speak in the name of all exchange students from McCaskey High School. We all come from different countries with different customs and different traditions. But we wanted to come to the United States to feel like Americans and live like Americans. At the beginning of the year, we were very homesick because we left our families and friends behind. Also, we had some problems with the English language. Many students helped us to settle down and start to act like Americans. Changing from our tasty and healthy food in our native countries to junk food and fast food in America was really tough to do. We have to admit that after 10 months in America, your American food tastes good and we like it now. Also, our taste for music changed. For example, if we would hear rap on radio stations before, the result would be changing this channel or turning the radio off. Now it's a different story. We like rap more than we did before, and we start jamming if we hear it on the radio. Throughout the year, we encountered many changes, but that is the price we had to pay to come to the United States and live here for a year. We hope that you learned some things about our countries and our customs, because we learned many things from you, especially students and teachers. We want to say thank you to the students of McCaskey High School. We made many friendships, and we all say that you will always be in our hearts, even though we may not see you again. We promise that you will not be forgotten, and we hope that you will never forget us. We had a wonderful year together, and we had a lot of fun. We also want to thank you to the faculty who tried to help us and guide us. Teachers gave us important skills that we will use in our real life. Thank you again. Lastly, we thank the families that hosted us. They are as follows. I'll read them again. Ekaterina Sluzhilova from Russia was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Desmond. Leia Al Bafilla from Spain was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Haimur. Engin Trevergen from Germany was hosted by Dr. and Mrs. Neureuter. Jacob Lenskjold from Denmark was hosted by Dr. and Mrs. Matthews. Kristin Vaplan from Sweden was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Shan. Crystal Laporte from France was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Cross. Stella Shelb from Brazil was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Parcell. Renana Atkins from Israel is hosted by Rabbi Atkins. And finally me, Sergei Katz, I'm coming from independent part of Yugoslavia called Slovenia, was hosted by Mr. and Mrs. Santinero. In parting, we say you will be missed, and whatever you do, good luck. Like the group Boys to Men sings, it's hard to say goodbye to yesterday. We say it's even harder to say goodbye today. We love you and thank you for everything.
Ralph Yeager Roberts.
Congratulations.
Michael C. Frazier.
Congratulations.
Tyshawn L. Wilson. Lewis J. Wilson.
Congratulations.
Jose E. Torres.
Congratulations.
Boguslaw D. Stelmach.
Congratulations.
John F. Sophilis.
Congratulations.
Eric A. Sluninger.
Congratulations.
James G. Simpkins.
Congratulations.
John F. Bushman.
Congratulations.
Sharon R. Bowers.
I'll give it to you.
Congratulations.
Magda Gonzalez.
Congratulations.
Adrena Carter. Pamela A. Greff.
Congratulations.
Jessica A. Brubaker.
Congratulations.
Stacy L. Miller.
Congratulations.
Christina H. Black.
Congratulations.
Corinne A. Weidman.
Congratulations.
James R. Leonard. Robert F. Silknetter.
Congratulations.
Noah R. Melnick. Kevin A. Clark.
Congratulations.
Philip A. Bowers.
Congratulations.
Lincoln M. Boyer.
Congratulations.
James I. Opal.
Congratulations.
Jeffrey O'Peel.
Congratulations.
Armando L. Rivera.
Congratulations.
Lynn A. Rosser.
Congratulations.
Melvin E. Miller.
Congratulations.
Jennifer N. Novacell.
Congratulations, Jennifer.
Antonio Hernandez Jr. Timothy E. Edwards. Andrew M. McCaig.
Congratulations.
Chin H. Fromm.
Congratulations.
Class Vice President John J. Garcia. Marco A. Martinez. Peck Neeb.
Congratulations.
Matthew W. Grube.
Congratulations.
Juan Aponte Jr. Shante Britton Cole. Class Secretary Galen C. Groff.
Congratulations, Jay.
Melvin Kirkner. Kevin K. Kirkner. Edwin Nazario. Nelson F. Rojas. Jose A. Chalet. Manuel Suarez. Robert M. Bloom. Sam Nguyen. Marco A. Ortiz. Jesse J. Rayford. George S. Morey. David E. Constable. Mark S. Heiser. Huing Ka. An Lee. Vin Luang. Niem Tran Lu. O. Juan Ramos. Juan C. Augusto. P. N. Ross. Eric S. Stafford. Nam A. Schwinn. Herman L. Luciano Jr. Cecil Pacheco. Tyrone L. Allen. Jose L. Vega. Mark J. Gehring. George L. Martinez. Angel Medina. James L. Nolan. Alonzo M. Pack. Thomas D. Pierce. Devin Grant Harner. Kong P. Pham. Luis M. Ramos. Javier Rivera. Michael Rivera. Miguel Rivera. D. Arthur Turner. Shane M. Piper. Edward Cruz. Justin D. Oster. Luis C. Concepcion. Shane E. Stowe. Edward Coriano. Cornel Q. Dockett. Miguel Garcia. Derek Gutierrez. Hung V. Ho. Katron D. Johnson. Dewan L. McKinney. James J. Nickerson. Luis A. Ortiz. Manuel Rivera. Jonathan F. Wilcox. Suzanne Pavlecic. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to introduce you to our exchange student from Sweden, Kristen I.W. Waplin. Linus Ho. Rachel A. Haynes. Lori C. Haverkamp. Neha. Brooke M. Carson. Brenda Bermudez. Tanya Ann Barton. Christina M. Baker. Gordon L. Schaefer. Edward Winters III. James N. Wright. Efren Villalobos. Doug Unax II. Jose E. Torado. Leroy Stauber. James I. Singer. Luis E. Santiago. Chris Santana. April D. Worst. Marisol Rivera. Samila Quintana. Tanya L. Ortega. Magali Medina. Monique M. Massa. Minor E. Martinez. Benita Margarito. Kim Lee. Teresa E. Liebel. Todd Anthony Fellenbaum. Luis A. Rodriguez II. Luis A. Montanez. Christopher A. Portman. Randy L. Minnick. Adam Lee Medina. Christopher T. Lease. Eric D. Hernandez. Stephen Gabriel Jr. George L. Brown. Hui T. Lien. Tammy Lynn Smith. Stephanie M. Broadnax. Class Treasurer, Katie S. Becker. Robin Elizabeth Gibble. Jennifer N. Sherrick. Medina N. Long. Jennifer Lynn Harper. Chiquita L. Williams. Tanya Marie West. Jennifer L. Wertz. Chin T. Pham. Lasha B. Brown. Charles A. Corbello. Thomas M. Good. Darrell J. Beats. Stephen M. Ackerman. Julio E. Nieves. Lawrence Clarence E. Young. Anthony D. Yeast. David L. Yelitz. Joshua K. Williams. Jill D. Lehman. Jennifer M. Smith. Joan S. Murray. Maritza Lozano. Stephanie A. Lanziger. Christine Renee Hall. Melanie Jill Hogan. Tiffany N. Hill. Jessica L. Hammond. Jacqueline Cruzado. Stephen Brian Randall. R. Ashley Bruner. Danny G. Will. Christian D. Hall II. Eric W. Baumberger. Alfonso S. White. David B. Vassity. Ashley D. Trout. Antonio Q. Spencer. Brandon M. Rudy. Mary Elizabeth Rojevich. Maritza Torres. Suzanne E. Stauffer. Tracy L. Plank. Sharice A. Brown. Christina C. Winter. Miranda June Wynn. Tina M. Witherow. Shante D. Williams. Tyler M. Posey. Gilberto Oviedo III. I believe our final foreign exchange student from Denmark, Jacob Lensko. Victor M. Guzman. Juan A. Huang. Brian K. Gladfelter. Jamela Quindy Edwards. Darren L. Ekman. Andrew P. Ciatola. Christian Hamaker. Rebecca E. Berg. Aaron L. Denise. Ivy L. Berklew. Maxine Brown. Amber L. Crossan. Katrina T. Branch. Melinda S. Bowden. Tiffany L. Binderup. Tina J. Bigler. Iris Enid Batiz. Christopher John Cooper. William D. Hatfield. John L. Barr. Marcus S. Wilson. T. Marvin Williams. Jeffrey D. Souders Jr. David E. Rule. Michael A. Miller. Stephen C. High. Justin Caballero. Todd M. Gotcho. Adrian Sheets. Gregory R. Hoffman. Jennifer A. Long. Marnell D. Cummings. Susan Elaine Teedy. Daniel C. McMullen.
Members of the class of 1992, by the power vested in me as President of Board of School Directors and on behalf of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, I hereby declare you graduates of the class of 1992 of the John Pearson McCaskey High School, Lancaster, Pennsylvania.
That the class of 92 is in effect at McCaskey. Headlines read, McCaskey boys stabbed after school fight. In today's news, they read, McCaskey boys shot leaving post-prom. Is this the legacy we leave with our community and our school? Absolutely not. We, the class of 92, leave a legacy of hard work, cooperation, and school spirit. These achievements will never make the headlines of the local newspapers, but they will have an impact on our future. The headlines could read, McCaskey students initiate peer mediation program, or McCaskey student wins science fair. The headlines should tell the community, John Garcia takes state title in wrestling. Girls win state track championship. These accomplishments of our school should not be hidden deep in the newspaper, unnoticed by many. They should be made known and create a better image for our school. Surely, the rest of our lives is just commencing. And while there is honor and distinction in completing this set of scholastic requirements, graduation is just a plateau and not a final destination. We have been taught the correct principles and are ready to begin governing ourselves. Facing employment or higher education can be challenging. Sales, the homecoming dance, and another edition of Jello Wrestling, our fundraisers have far surpassed our goals, leaving us with an excess of funds to be used for some worthwhile contribution to our school. Our class, the class of 1992, and all of its achievements will be well documented in McCaskey history. It is now time to pass the torch these last moments together and celebrate our vast accomplishments. Renee, I hold in my hand the traditional torch which is passed on to the next graduating class. As you can see, the class of 1992 has maintained the excellence upheld by previous classes. I present it to you with the utmost confidence and best wishes from my class, and I encourage the class of 1993 to have a positive impact on the headlines in the community of Lancaster. May you continue to keep the fire burning.
On behalf of the class of 1993, I would like to congratulate you on your great achievement. Our class, as all classes at McCaskey, is made up of different races, cultures, and various backgrounds, which adds a richness to our education. We, the class of 1993, will strive not only for academic excellence, but for unity as a class.
Let us pray. O thou our Creator, we have reached the end of our gathering here in this place on this most special occasion. We have saluted and appropriately challenged these persons who have reached a critical commitment within their lives. We now petition thee to grant them the wisdom necessary to use the knowledge which they have acquired for their betterment. The only wise God, our sustainer, thou who solicitest the hearts of all people everywhere, to the God of the native and the European Americans of the West, to the God of the Asian and Indian Americans from the East, to the God of the Latin and African Americans from their respective mother continents, unto Allah, Yahweh, Jehovah, unto the God of the yin and yang, and to the God of nirvana, unto the God of all of creation, be glory, majesty, dominion, and power, both now, henceforth, and forevermore.